Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Peter from Baerveldt Productions. Honestly, I am 2 years late with this video. There are some great reviews out there, but the thing is, most of these reviews just cover some basic testing and a spec sheet that can be found on the Sigma website. I will not be bothering you with those tests, so I've collected some questions that people had about the lens, and I'll be answering those in this video. So without further ado, let's roll that intro. The first question, and that's the biggest question that people aren't able to properly answer in my opinion, and that is, what is the difference between the cine version and the photo version? And that comes down to 4 major elements in my opinion. Build quality, preciseness of the lens, T-stops versus f-stops, and obviously the price. This lens, the 18-35, has better materials and it's made to be more robust. So to put it simply, the cinema lens will perform better and more reliable in situations where it's really cold, it becomes really warm, and of course when there is water involved like rain. T-stops are accurate data regarding to light, and what this means is that if you use multiple lenses that use T-stops and you set them to the same T-stop, every lens will give you the same amount of light. And that is regarding the focal length of or brand. So if you use multiple lenses and you set them to the same exact T-stop, they will all have the same exposure. So where the photo version uses the f-stop, and the f-stop is an approximation of light. So when using multiple lenses with f-stops, there can be a difference in exposure. In the cine version, this is a clickless aperture ring. So you can change your exposure while shooting. The photo version, on the other hand, has a clicked aperture, which is also electronic, so it can't be controlled manual. The third major difference between the cinema and the photo lens will be the preciseness. And that is in regarding to the focus. It has a much larger focus rotation than the photo version, which make it more accurate when you want to do it by hand. The photo version is much shorter, but it's made for photo cameras, and a lot of photo cameras actually have autofocus. So the throw of the focus is less important, but for video, when you have to do it manually, the longer the throw, the more accurate you can be. Almost 4,500 euros in comparison to 800 euros for the photo version is a big difference. But this is a difference that mainly comes down to the quality of the lens, which we talked about before, and the quantity of the lens. The photo version is for a much larger group of people, where the cinema lens is for a smaller group of people, so less units will be sold. Then there is development, materials, and the fact that every cinema lens spends a lot more time in the hands of real people than a machine or robot. No, it cannot. It just sends some metadata to the camera, like the focal length that you're at and the focus distance. They're more expensive than most photo lenses, but for a cine zoom lens, they're not expensive. Other options will cost you a lot more. Now we will cover some questions that were asked to me personally, so they will relate mostly on my experience with this lens. That would be the Red Raven, Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K and 4K, the Ursa Mini Pro, the Red Scar W, the Red Epic Weapon, and of course the C200 from Canon. I wanted to switch to cinema lenses for my work, and I got the opportunity to try this for a couple of weeks, and it ticked all the boxes. I do not. It's perfect for what I do, it still is, and I hope that it will remain perfect for a while. Well, when I got this lens, I switched from the Zeiss planar photo lenses to this heavy 18-35 cine zoom. And the setup that I was running was the Movi Pro with the red V-mount follow focus system, and it became too heavy for a day's work to run it without support. So I had to invest in a ready rig, and as you know, those aren't cheap either. And I was just not planning on spending that much money again so soon after buying this cinema lens? Wow, that's a big question. A lot of new cinema cameras have full frame capabilities, so this lens wouldn't be able to cover those sensors, and I shoot almost exclusively on red. So if I were to go 8K when I upgrade the Raven, this lens wouldn't cover those sensors because they are too big. But luckily for me, I have other plans. I am planning on buying the red Komodo 6K, and this lens will cover that sensor. And to be honest, for the work that I do, the run and gun type shooting that my clients want me to do, it would be a more interesting option for me to switch from Raven to Gemini than to switch from Raven to Monstro or Weapon. So if you go the full frame route or planning to do so in the near future, then this lens is not an option. But if you're shooting Super 35 APS-C, then this lens is a wonderful option and you will not be let down by it. Sure, there are lenses that would fit your work better, even mine. What this specific lens does, I don't think there are a lot of lenses that will do the same for you at this price point. So the only lens that I think that could come close to what this lens has to offer is the Tokina ATX 16 to 28 millimeters. It has less range, but it's around the same price. Most definitely, if you shoot something really good, then your client's gonna be happy about it. But that's not gonna be because of this lens, but it's gonna be because you make a great video. Would you buy it in 2020? Yes, I would, most definitely. That's something that a lot of people were talking about in the comments, right? Yeah. All right, no, I do not mind the focus breathing as much as a lot of people here in the YouTube comments. And that's because I do a lot of gimbal work, and with gimbal work comes movement, so the specific breathing is less noticeable. You could, I didn't, because I wasn't sold on the minimum focus distance of the 50 to 100. That's more than 1 meter, I believe. So I bought the full frame 50, which has a much closer focus distance. Well, it's super clean and sharp, and that's really good. I like that for my commercial work. But if you're looking for a lens that has more character to it for artistic purposes, you could go for Zeiss CP2s. And that's all the questions that we have for today. If you made it this far, that's really great. Like the video, leave a comment, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. It's much appreciated. And if there is anything else that we didn't cover in this video, but you really would like to know, leave it down in the comment section. And if we know the answer, we'll get back at ya. Good luck with social distancing, staying at home, and see you in the next video, guys. Later.